Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, so alma mater dear. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern. To Southwestern will be loyal to the sun from the sky, and remember to the end that a fight will never die. Pirates fight, yeah we win. Ay. Pirates fight, whoa, to the end. Whoa, Pirates fight, yeah we win. Ay. Pirates fight, yeah, to the end. Whoa, to the end.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network, week number 8. My name is Merle Bertrand, joined as always by head coach Joe Austin. Our producer tonight, Jack Farrell, back at the helm. Christina Weber, my better half, our QA tonight, keeping an eye on here on the broadcast. Chuck Tracy here as well. Coming up on the show tonight, we're going to hear from junior defensive back Aiden O'Connell and sophomore wide receiver Coleman Robertson. Before we get into last week's game and start the show, I want to thank some of our sponsors, including Antioch and Georgetown, Baylor Scott and White Healthcare, Chappelle Realty Group, Chisholm Trail Pediatrics, Don Hewlett Buick and Chevrolet, Double Dave's Pizza, Eagles Wings Home Improvement Services, First Texas Bank, and Gary Brown CPA. Thanks to all those folks making it possible for us to be here tonight. And Coach, sitting in here, really rough start for the Pirates. Sound like there have been some extenuating circumstances listening to Center's broadcast on Saturday. Rough start, much better second half, at the end result, 45-21 defeat at the hands of the Center College Colonels, which is a great nickname, by the way. Your thought on the game on Saturday?
What does Center have to say about our circumstances?
Something about getting held up in traffic on the bus and got there 38 minutes before kickoff or something like that.
They had it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Interstate 64 was shut down. Center College is in Danville, Kentucky, which is in the middle of nowhere. They're a geographical oddity. They're an hour from what movie was that? Geographical oddity? Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Sorry.
Oh, wow. I should have known that.
Obscure movie references that I can't even finish on my own. They're like an hour from Louisville. They're an hour from Cincinnati. They're an hour from Lexington. They're an hour from everywhere.
I guess that's what they call Center College, right?
Yeah, there you go. So you got to drive to the center of Kentucky to get to the school. And I don't know what happened because I-64 was shut down and we were diverted. And so we were on a one-lane back road. We got there with less than an hour before the game. Nothing you can do about it. You throw your equipment on and you go out and you get a quick warm-up and you start. But you know what? That has nothing to do with it, in my opinion, because when you're going to practice, you don't sit there for 2 hours like you do on game day. You got to be ready to go. And we did not play well. We played much better against Barry, who's a better opponent. Now, we didn't win that game.
Right.
But we played much better against Barry, who is a quality opponent. Not knocking Center, but this isn't one of their better teams, and we did not play very well in a lot of phases.
It really felt almost like a game of whack-a-mole. I mean, the pass defense seemed a little bit better. I didn't see anybody wide open and that kind of thing, but they ran the ball pretty well. Even their guys their broadcasters were even surprised at how well that they ran the football. Were you surprised at all by that, especially the quarterback? They were really shocked by that.
We didn't do what we're supposed to do. We didn't cover the quarterback. We didn't cover the dive. Our players up front abandoned their responsibilities in a way that they hadn't done all year. But we also blew some coverages. We gave up 2 easy touchdowns on slants on the goal line. Defensively we didn't play well at all. We played a much stronger, much better game from an assignment standpoint the week before against a better opponent. I don't know what to attribute that to. It was disappointing. So we have to coach it better. We have to play it better. But it just comes down to our players were trained all week on where to be. And then right? The coaches can't play it. You got to go out and you got to be where you're supposed to be. So we'll keep coaching it and we'll keep trying to find different ways to explain it and to get our players to understand. But we had a lot of players that did not do what they were supposed to do, and that led to some big cracks in the run defense. That was disappointing because I like to think of our run defense as one of the strengths of our football team.
Right.
And just based on assignments, it was not on Saturday.
Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights and some of the lowlights from Saturday's contest against the Center College Colonels. And we'll cue that up right now, Jack.
All right, so we're picking this up. It's their second possession for Center. First possession. And third down's been a big emphasis for us. And on this third down, they roll out. We get some pressure. Jameer Martin almost comes up with an interception. That drive ends. They give the ball to us. and this is the first of 2 defensive touchdowns. They run a twist, and their inside tackle tips the ball up in the air, catches it, and runs it in. So that's a rough start. That was our second offensive possession, and we're down 7-0. We're going to give up 14 points with our offense today, and that's a rough way to go. We get the ball back, though, and we get some things moving. Send the guy in motion, and we actually have them both open. We had Sam Johnson down one hash, and we sent our running back Christian Reeves across the field to the other hash for a big gain. Gets us in the scoring position. Unfortunately, that drive would end on downs. We had several drives end on downs in their end of the field. We didn't cash in. And that, when you see things like that happen, you have to understand that someone is assigned to the dive back, the running back if he goes inside, and the quarterback if the quarterback goes outside. There's an assignment for all of those, and we did a really, really poor job on those assignments. And we're going to see some other breakdowns in passing game and some other things as we go through. This was a third down play when they got into the red zone, and we did a great job on the screen. We were showing that we were going to bring pressure, and so they tried to catch us with the screen. We stopped them again on third down, which has been a big emphasis for us. And after that drive, when our drive ended on fourth down, they moved it down into scoring range. We held them to a field goal. And when you're holding teams to kicks, it's always I guess the lesser of two evils, right? When you get down there, you're much better off giving up a 3 than giving up a 7. So that's the first points that our defense gave up. Moving to the second now, this is 4th and 1. So we stopped them on third, but they're close enough to go for it on fourth. And you won't be shocked when I tell you someone is assigned to cover him. And the player assigned to cover him, our free safety, did not cover him. That's problematic. And this is going to be the first of 2 slants we give up in the red zone. The cardinal rule of football is you don't give up an inside route on the goal line because all they have to do is catch it to score. Right. And that's the first of 2 times that they beat us on an inside route, which is the number one thing that you don't want to do. You make them complete an out-breaking route. So we're down 17. We're down 10, and now we make it down 17. Their linebacker made a nice play, undercut that route. Our play action wasn't great. We could have sucked that linebacker up and left our slot receiver uncovered. But, Jalen's got to make the decision to not throw that one. To our credit, we come right back. Jalen comes back. Our offense comes right back. And we have our best drive of the first half, the best drive that we have against their starting defense. We move it right down. We get a couple chunk plays. This is second long. It's going to be a nice draw play, a nice run by Christian Reeves. This is a really nice move when you watch it from the end zone view to pick up 13. Really juke their middle linebacker to get us into 3rd and short. Then in 3rd and short, we're going to come back with another run by Christian. We get 3 pullers out in front, and that gets us down into the deep red zone.
He's impressive. I just like watching him play.
Yeah, Christian did a nice job. He's coming on. He missed some games at the beginning of the year, but he's done some good things. Very next play, we run a zone read of our own, and we're able to pull it. And Jalen Spriggs, our quarterback, gets it down 1st and goal at the 3. And then the very next play, I believe they took a timeout. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yep. Jalen's going to take it himself. We're going to run a quarterback counter play. We're going to go into a heavy double tight set, which kind of got him where we wanted him to be able to run our counter play. We bring 2 pullers to the front side, and it's a walk-in stand-up touchdown for Jalen. So good response by our offense after giving up 2 pick sixes. One's just bad luck. One we shouldn't have thrown, but they both count. Scramble play by their quarterback, and they beat our freshman nickel safety for a really nice touchdown after a good drive. Charlie Fournier punted the ball really well, and this is one of his bombs. This is a 53-yard punt. So good that the camera can't move fast enough to keep up with it. But that really flipped the field. We didn't get much going on that drive after we received the kickoff, and that gave center a longer field. They've moved it down into our territory, as you can see. And they try to run a double move on Quincy Nevins, who's having a really good season at corner as a freshman. So that's Quincy handling the double move. They ran a stop and go. He was able to take care of it. Then this is Alec Gomez getting pressure on the bootleg, forcing the incompletion. So now we've got him into 3rd and 10, actually 3rd and 15. They had a false start penalty. And this is where our third down defense rears its ugly head. We force him to throw it short. We've got a chance to tackle him, and we stop our feet. All we need to do, we have great leverage. Just run through that tackle. Several other guys missed the tackle, and we give up a really long conversion on 3rd and long. where we forced them to hold it. 3rd and 15 again, and Peyton Ludeman gets his first of 2 strip sacks, the senior captain, blitzing from his safety position, and that ends the half. So this is the beginning of the 3rd quarter. The game's not out of hand. We're wanting to get a good stop by our defense to start the 2nd half, get the ball over to our offense, see what we can do, and we give up a 50-yard run on the first play. Our run fits, we're not very good. Our weak side linebacker position is a position that when Blaine Corkin and Jake Sefcik have been at that position, they've led the team in tackles every game. They were unavailable. In our weak side linebacker position, 2 players played, and we only tallied a half a tackle. That was a deficit for us, being without those 2 players. And as we just saw, that's the second goal line slant that we gave up, where you break rule number 1. You don't let them inside on the goal line. Damian Gomez came in now in relief for Jalen Spriggs in the 2nd half. He's hitting Mitchell Garrett on a nice completion there. This is 4th down. Watch the running back. The running back's going to release to the top. It's 4th and 5. That's our first read, and fortunately Damian doesn't go to that first read. We could have flipped it out there for a 1st down. That's another drive that ended about their 35-yard line.
Boy, he was wide open.
He was wide open. And that's our first read. That's unfortunate. Now, Damian's going to have a really good 4th quarter, but in the 3rd quarter where the game's not decided, that's one that you really want him to get. Finally got our first sack of the day. That was Malik McDonald. We forced him around a little bit. 2nd sack. First by our defensive line. Malik McDonald gets it there. And then we backed that up with the 2nd play on 2nd and 15 with a really nice run play. And we were able to put an end to the quarter ended. Now we're 3rd and 5. And we get our 2nd strip sack by Peyton Ludeman, blitzing from the safety position. Jalen Levine comes up with that recovery. Jason Lund came up with the first recovery in the 2nd half. That gives us some good field position. A couple of lead blockers again for Christian. That's Sam Johnson, our freshman H-back that was right there at the point of attack, getting us down into the deep red zone. Unfortunately, we went backwards. So now we're 3rd down and 30. But Damian's going to do a nice job scrambling here. He's going to run the ball really well 2 plays in a row. That opens up, and Damian gets half of it back. So now we're in a position where we're down 3 scores, we can go for it.
Right.
Field goals aren't really going to help us, so it was really good play by Damian to get us down there. It's a distance we can go for it. And a good scramble, the middle opens up again. Damian will take it down to 1st and goal, gets it down in the red zone. And then we're going to run the same play we ran with Jalen in the 1st half to score. We're going to run a quarterback counter play again with 2 tight ends. We don't block it as well because we leave that guy free, but Damian's able to have a nice tough run and punch it in. So we're cutting in the lead a little bit. We get the ball back. We stop them on defense, force a punt. Nice throw on 3rd down. 3rd down conversion out to Isaac Pedraza, a sophomore H-back who contributes on offense, contributes on special teams. Good young player. And then a seam pass to a freshman. Vance Mills. We have 2 Mills. I got to keep them straight, right? Ethan on defense, Vance on offense. That gets us down into the red zone. And then we're going to see Coleman in an interview here in a couple minutes. A nice catch. Watch out for the pole there, Coleman. He bounces off the pole, but it's a touchdown.
That's why you have a helmet.
And that's our last offensive touchdown there. That set the final score. We had a couple chances. We actually got being down 24, being a 3-score game. We had an onside kick opportunity that we didn't get. So we hung in a little bit. We scored a little bit in the 4th quarter. But it was not a great day. It was not a great day in a lot of respects. And we can play better. That's the thing that's disappointing. Is that was not the best we can play. We played better the week before. And I know Barry was a good football team, and the score wasn't what we wanted it to be. If we had played like we played against Barry, we would have had a really good chance to win. The other thing that's tough about this game is the youth that we've been forced into. We played 20 freshmen in this game.
Wow.
We haven't played 20 freshmen since 2013.
Right.
We played 13 sophomores. So we played 33 freshmen and sophomores. It's been since 2014 since we've had to play 33 freshmen and sophomores. We played only 21 upperclassmen. That's tough. We weren't in that situation initially, but we've lost a whole entire starting offensive line. We're down 5 offensive line starters, for example. We're down a bunch of other guys in a bunch of other positions. So that's made it difficult. There's no doubt about that. We're not the group that we wanted to be at the beginning of the year. We're not the group that we were at the beginning of the year. And to go in and be in a position to have to play 33 freshmen and sophomores, you need to really be on your game, and we weren't on our game.
Yeah, that was kind of my next question. I noticed 92 yards rushing and Pirate quarterbacks combined sacked 5 times. I think I knew about 4 of them. I didn't realize you were down the 5th one, so that kind of explains a lot of that right there. Just not in terms of the youth, but just that inexperience and not working together and all that kind of stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I said it the only way I can. We lost an entire starting offensive line.
Right.
The only player that's out there that was in that starting group from the beginning of the year is Matt Gomez. And he's doing everything he can. We've got a bunch of young guys. And, of course, they're trying. They're doing the best they absolutely can do. But they had their hands full. They had their hands full, and they're going to need to they're going to really need to make some improvements. It was a difficult game to quarterback for both Damian and for Jalen. It's hard, having been in that position. When there's pressure in your face about every throw, it's tough. And so our run game wasn't quite as good. There's a chance we're going to get one of those guys back later on in the year, get to where we're only down 4 starting offensive linemen. But it's a tough job for those guys. But I think they can do better, and we're counting on them to do better. And we'll see what they've got this week.
Is there any pattern that you've seen between the first half and the second half? Because the Pirates, as a rule, not every game, but for the most part, have played better in the second half. They find themselves in a big hole, and they come back, make it interesting, or at least make it competitive in the second half. And it's not always against the reserves. Have you seen any one thing that you can put your finger on, or is it just an overall playing better kind of deal?
Well, this week we scored against the reserves.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is, right?
Right.
We only scored once against our starters, and then in the fourth quarter, when they put their reserves in, we scored twice.
Are there any other positives you can take away from the game on Saturday, heading into these final 3 games of the season?
Well, again, I mean, we're kind of lamenting the fact that we were in a position to have to play 33 freshmen and sophomores. But if you remember, we were sitting here in 2013 and 2014, and I told you, it's not all bad to play 33 freshmen and sophomores. If you get in your DeLorean and you can go forward a couple of years, a lot of these guys are going to be really good players. And so that's the silver lining, is that this game experience that they're getting is really valuable. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot to our seniors that want to win games now.
Right.
And, of course, everyone wants to win now. But the silver lining is we played a ton of young players. Some of them are playing because they're ready to play now. Like in the beginning of the season, we're still going to play some really good freshmen and sophomores. But a bunch of those guys are now forced into action, and that will pay dividends long term. So if you're looking for the silver lining, if you're looking for a moral victory in it, it's we're back to where we were 10 years ago, where we're playing a truly, truly very young football team, and we're not going to see the benefits of that for some time. But the benefits are there. But we want to do well this season. And the disappointing thing is that was not our best effort.
Right.
The players we put out there, whether they're freshmen through fifth-year seniors, Peyton Ludemann's our 1 fifth-year senior, they could have played better. They could have played better, and we just need to do that. We need to put our best effort out there every week.
It is kind of funny because their broadcast crew said pretty much what you were saying 10 years ago. Man, wait a couple of years. These guys are going to be really, really good. So it was kind of a flashback to 10 years ago. But, yeah, I totally get that and that was my other thought about the seniors, that they want to win right now, and they've got 3 more chances to do just that. So hopefully everybody can kind of come together and give a good effort here for the final part of the season.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I know we can do better. I'm counting on us to do better. And football and athletics in general is it's the next man up cliche is what it is. When it's your turn, you need to prepare for that week like a champion and do the absolute best that you can. We can do better. I think we will do better over the last 3 weeks, and that's what we're going to be working towards.
Well, unless you got anything else, we'll close the book on center and move on to next week.
No, we can move on.
All right, we'll take a break and be right back. When we come back, we're going to hear from junior defensive back Aiden O'Connell. You're watching SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. And welcome back to quarter number 2 of SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network. Merle Bertrand back with you. Welcome back to Jack's Lounge here at the beautiful Georgetown Sheraton. And I want to thank some more of our sponsors, John F. Lewis CPA, Mighty Fine Burgers, Fries, and Shakes, Minuteman Press, Primerica Financial Solutions, Rudy's Barbecue, and Schlotsky's of Georgetown. So it's always interesting to see how players kind of respond to adversity, and that's the case with our first guest, who probably figured he'd see the field a lot more this year until the hand injury kind of had other ideas and that kind of thing. Junior defensive back Aiden O'Connell, according to Coach, has become a special team stalwart. So, Aiden, kind of introduce yourself and let folks know where you're from and all that kind of stuff.
Well, first, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. After 3 years of being in the program, I finally get to come to the Sheraton and have this experience, and it's pretty awesome.
It's very impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Definitely not what I expected.
We're just like ESPN Studios.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, my name's Aiden O'Connell. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I've been playing here for 3 years, obviously, as a defensive back. I actually never played defensive back in high school other than one game.
Oh,
and
wow.
then, yeah, on my recruiting visit, Coach Bishop kind of said, well, we think you'd be a better DB, and here I am. So
What did you play in high school?
I was a receiver.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a natural. I've seen a lot of guys kind of flip back. In fact, the smaller schools a lot of times have to go both ways. But was it a big adjustment for you?
A little bit. It's at first, you think it's kind of easy. You can kind of read the routes and just play. But once it starts to get a little more complex, obviously, it gets more difficult,
Right.
all the different schemes and the adjustments and everything. But, you just got to work through it and see what you can do.
Well, we've talked a little bit on the show in weeks past about sort of the regional rivalries, Houston, Dallas, Austin. I don't think we've had anybody on from San Antonio yet that I remember, or at least nobody that I talked to. So speak to that a little bit. Is there, rep San Antonio not only from the regional outlook, but you went to Central Catholic High School, which is a private school. So
Correct.
Talk about private versus UIL.
Well, it's quite different, as you could probably tell. A lot of the guys on the team are UIL guys, but we also have the most TAPS guys in the state of Texas
Right.
on our college football team. So a lot of guys know what it was like to play TAPS, but we also have guys that played at 6A UIL schools, so we have both sides of the spectrum. And, in regards to this week against Trinity, they're literally on the same road as my high school. So
Wow.
I've got a lot of friends at Trinity. I got recruited by Trinity, so next year when we go down there, it's going to be almost like a little bit of a homecoming,
Yeah.
which is exciting. But, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wondered about that. So what was it that attracted you to Southwestern instead of Trinity? This is your chance to kind of do a little recruiting here on the air.
Well, the big difference was, quite frankly, Southwestern when they were recruiting me, I had 4 different coaches, Coach Kelly, Coach Bishop, Coach Austin, Coach well, there was a whole bunch of them. There was a whole bunch. And they were all texting me, and, I really felt like they wanted me here rather than any other school. The academics obviously are great. We have a beautiful campus. Where would you want to be other than Georgetown? And, yeah, that's really what attracted me here. I wanted to get away from home a little bit. I've already been on that street enough in Trinity. So I figured, change of scenery, get a chance to play at Southwestern, great campus, great people, and I would say it worked out pretty well.
I would say so. That would be a little bit weird. I mean, part of the allure of college is going somewhere new and trying something different. When it's literally right down the street from you, that had to be a little bit of a factor, I would imagine.
Yeah, no doubt. I definitely wanted to expand my horizons a little
Right.
bit. Get away from home, but not too far from home, and Southwestern was a place.
What was it like making the adjustment from high school to college, going from a small private high school to a university about an hour and a half away from home and that kind of thing, and academic-wise and just just life in general?
Mm-hmm. Well, academically, I would say I was prepared really well. Shout out Central Catholic. I think they
Right.
did a great job
What's
helping
it?
us
They
out.
got a cool. Isn't it the Buttons?
The
Isn't
buttons.
that their nickname?
Yeah, the buttons.
What is that?
So it's the little rattle part on a rattlesnake.
Right.
When we were first founded back in 1852, we were the Rattlers, and then St. Mary's came along, and obviously they're the big university, so we figured we'd pay homage to them, give them the Rattlers, and we'll take the Buttons.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's a pretty interesting backstory. But in regards to the transition from private school to university, academically it wasn't all that difficult. I was able to adjust pretty well. Athletically, just same old. The speed of the game is just completely different.
Right.
There's athletes all over the field. There's not going to be a weak link when you're playing on a college football field. So that was definitely a big adjustment, and it's an adjustment all the way until you basically become a junior or senior. Obviously, some guys adjust quicker, but it just depends on the type of player you are and how you process different things.
Well, we talked about it when you first came on the show a moment ago, and Coach mentioned you hadn't seen as much action from scrimmage as you'd like because of your injury, but you're still playing on all the special teams, had a couple of tackles on Saturday, so you'd probably prefer to be out there all the time, but which do you prefer, kickoff coverage, punt coverage, or do you have a preference?
Definitely kickoff coverage. My freshman year, I was able to be like the safety net and made a bunch of tackles, and then working through it sophomore and junior year, I was able to just get down there as I progressed, get faster, get a little bit better at tackling. It's definitely a lot more fun to run down there, and when the guys try to block you, they're not as kind of set, and you can get around them a little bit easier, and then you basically get a free shot at the guy who's running. So I definitely like kickoff more.
Interesting. I would have guessed the other way around, just because I know that Charlie Fournier has got a leg, and I figured you'd just be like running wind sprints and not really get that traction. But it's interesting to hear you say that you prefer that.
Yeah, definitely. Punt team it's always fun, but when Charlie boots it up there, and it's going, and then you have to try to tackle a really, really good player in the open field, it gets pretty difficult. So.
Are you on the hands unit too when he does those weird little drop kicks and the onside and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm on all that, and Charlie's a great kicker, so credit to him. And he always puts the ball where it needs to be and gives us a chance. So it's really fun to go out there and try to help him out by getting the ball or making the tackle.
Right. How hard is it to stay mentally involved when you would probably prefer to be on the field all the time and playing quote-unquote normal defense?
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is it to kind of put on the helmet and get into the game every few minutes and have to go out there and make plays because it's such a critical part of the game?
Yeah, it's certainly a challenge. And as you might know, I started the first 3 games of the season, didn't really play how I was supposed to play. We had a tough first 3 games. And Coach Griesel talked to me, we figured we'd give the young guys a look, and, my role changed, and that's just how it is. It's college football. Just got to keep working, try to get back on the field, waiting. I'm 1 play away if there's an injury, God forbid. But you always got to stay ready. It's definitely a challenge to stay focused on the sideline during practice, but you just got to come in with the mindset. I've kind of taken over the past couple of years is like I get to play football. Not many people have that opportunity. I get to come out here, put on a helmet, and it's just a privilege, and you have to kind of keep that mindset and keep going back out there. And as of last week, go out there, make plays whenever you can, and that's just what I try to do.
Well, is there a part of you, are you involved in, you mentioned the young guys coming in, when they come off the field, are you kind of coaching them up on the sidelines, telling them things that you've seen, from your vantage point and your experience? Yeah,
no doubt. I mean, and I'm playing corner this year, which is a little bit of an adjustment, but Quincy and DJ James, Quincy Nevins and DJ James, Quincy's a freshman and DJ's a transfer from Sewanee, 2 of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. I mean, being able to get to know those guys and become friends with them over this year, at first I was mentoring them, and now it's kind of like a partnership.
Right.
Now that they've kind of got their footing in the starting lineup, and it's just 2 of the greatest guys, and there's no one that I would rather have on the field that I'm able to help out, and they help out me. And, we compete every day in practice, and Saturday it's a privilege to be able to go out there with them and play and work hard with them and, be teammates on the sideline and friends off the field.
Well, you kind of led into my next question. Coach has been talking the past couple of weeks, especially with the younger guys coming in, about that competition and trying to build the competition. You're a junior, you got 1 more year left, and there's 3 games left this season. So I would assume that you're not giving up on getting back out there and maybe flipping the roles a little bit, right? That's what the competition is all about.
Yeah, no doubt. You can never, when you're on the sideline, especially in the 2 deep, you can never give up on trying to get back on the field. And since week 4 against Birmingham Southern, when those guys got the start, it was back to square one basically. And Coach talked about in that week in meetings and leading up to the game, we need competition. We need to bring competition back, and that's exactly what happened. So now I get to go out there, polish my skills every day, give those guys a better look. And I like to think that if I compete better in practice or in the games on special teams or whatever it may be, that they'll be able to go out there and, kind of light a fire under them and be like, well, I need to keep playing well myself, which will just elevate their play, and then it'll continue to elevate my play and helps the team overall.
Well, you mentioned, right down the street from Trinity, so this game is coming up this weekend. Last time the Pirates played Trinity, you were probably in middle school. But was this game kind of circled on your calendar a little bit when you saw the schedule come out?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, hearing from Coach Mask and Bishop and Coach Kelly when he was here, it was always, the one game that we always had circled when we played here was Trinity.
Right.
And it kind of resonated with us, and then we hear we're going to their conference. And obviously they're a really, really good football team, and everybody wants to slay the Giants. So Trinity is always circled on your calendar when you play for Southwestern, and it's a really exciting challenge to be able to go out there and represent, especially here at home. We get to go out there and see if we can do something special.
What's your favorite memory so far here at Southwestern, on or off the field, or one of each if you got them?
Let's see. On the field would probably be, well, I have two. First one being my freshman year. We went up to Belhaven. They had a really, really good football team that year, two really good backs, a good quarterback. And we were able to go up there, and it's where we got our first win in my Southwestern career. I was on the punt team as a personal protector, and I had a fake punt. Will Herbst tossed it over the line, gave it to me, and I ran for a few yards. If I was faster, I might have gone for a touchdown, but that's neither here nor there. And then my second favorite memory has to be Cal Lou last year. We went up to California my freshman year and didn't pan out the way we wanted to. They came up here last year, and we were able to go to double overtime with them.
Right.
Charlie hit the game-tying field goal as time expired, which is really exciting. He's one of my best friends. And then we were able to secure the win in overtime. And being at home in front of the crowd, first home game of the year, it's just electric, and that's just what you play for.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What are some of the things that you like to do off the field when you're not in the class or not out in the football field?
Well, I'm a member. I'm actually the current president of the Phi Delta Theta fraternity. So I get to go, and I live with 20 of my best friends, which is absolutely awesome. So anytime I'm not doing homework or playing football, I get to go home, hang out with them, play some video games, or just talk about our lives, just do whatever and just hang out. And that's just what I love doing with those guys. And always being around them, and all the football players, they love to come in, say hi, get to hang out with them, and just kind of know everyone on campus. And, you really expand who you know on campus. And it's really fun to be able to do that.
Now, see, there you go. If you had stuck with Trinity, your parents would have probably had you home to come help paint the house or mow the grass or something like that. You wouldn't have had all that.
Yeah, I'd have to be driving my brothers to school.
Yeah. So, good choice. What's the one thing that nobody knows about you that you want to admit to here in front of the worldwide audience?
Let's see. Gosh, something that nobody knows. Well, man, I don't know. I can't really think of it. I'm a pretty open book for the most part, I like to think. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know if I have an answer for that right now.
That's all right. we can move on. I assume you're coming back next year for your senior year. Are you looking at – there's going to be so many new guys on the defensive side of the ball with all the seniors that are going to be graduating. Are you looking to step up into a leadership role next year on the as part of the defense? Yeah,
certainly. I mean, obviously, right now we're kind of old and young on defense.
Right.
We have a fifth year, and we have a bunch of seniors on the D-line, linebackers, and then secondary-wise, we're really, really young.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of in that middle ground where the young guys are kind of stepping up into their roles and they're continuing to progress, and then the old guys are going to be leaving.
Right.
So I'll be there as one of the only seniors on the defense, and I'll have the opportunity to step up, and I'm definitely looking to do that. Be able to lead those guys. I would like to hope that I've done a pretty good job doing that with the young guys, especially this year. It's a really special group of guys, and to be able to be under the mentorship of older guys like Peyton Ludeman, Jason Lund, Malik, all those guys, they molded me into who I am today, and I'm hoping that I can continue to mold the younger guys to mold them into the players that we are, and start winning football games for Southwestern.
Well, final question for you: what are you studying here at Southwestern, and what are your plans after graduation, or have you figured that out just yet?
Well, it's a little cloudy at the moment. I was a political science major for a while, and then last spring I decided to switch to business with a minor in political science. So both my parents were in the courthouse back in San Antonio. They still are. So I grew up around that stuff my whole life. So law school is always going to be in the question, at least for now. Other than that, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. But, just continue to network and try to see what I can do career-wise. It's starting to come to that point, which is a little daunting, where I'm going to have to start thinking about the real world. But yeah, it's a little cloudy right now, but I'm hoping that Southwestern is going to prepare me, which I'm sure they will. Prepare me for the real world, and I'm excited to get there.
Well, the good news is you got another year to figure it out.
I certainly do, yeah.
You got a little breathing room yet. Any shout-outs you want to give before we let you go?
My two little brothers and my mom and dad. Hope you guys are doing all right. Hopefully you're watching. Of course, all the guys back on the team who are getting ready to run tempo runs right now. I'll be back soon. And then just the guys that I live with, all the guys in the fraternity, my best friends. I had the privilege to come in and meet you guys. And, you guys are my brothers off the field, and you guys do a lot for me. So shout out to you guys.
Awesome job. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good luck, and thanks for the rest of and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
All right, junior defensive back Aiden O'Connell. We've reached halftime here of SU Football Weekly. When we come back, it'll be time for Crazy's Corner as Chuck Crazy will take the helm, and he'll sit down with sophomore wide receiver, part of that youth movement, Coleman Robertson. We'll take a break and be right back. You're watching SU Football Weekly here on the Vype Live Network.
Welcome back to SU Football Weekly here at the Sheraton Georgetown Austin Hotel and Conference Center. I want to welcome with us for Crazy's Corner sophomore wide receiver Coleman Robertson. Welcome, Coleman.
Thank you for having me here, man.
Sure, no problem.
It's a pleasure.
You know, it's usually upperclassmen that get to come out here and be interviewed, and you saw from the prior interview, it's been 3 years for him before he got an opportunity. So it's pretty impressive for a youngster, you know, to be out here being interviewed under the big lights. So now the really interesting thing is I was doing a little bit of research on you, and there's not a lot out there. That's a good thing, right? Because most of the systems that I look at in researching people deal with crime and fraud. So if you're not in those, that's a good thing, right? So, but the interesting thing that I want to bring up is you're the second player from Mansfield Lake Ridge High School to be interviewed by me on this show. And the last one was also mentioned by the prior interview, DJ James. Now, of course, he transferred from Belhaven here to
I thought it was Swanee.
Or Swanee, rather.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, the out-of-state schools, they're all the same to me. No, from Swanee here, so he didn't have a direct route like you did, but it seems like to me there's a little bit of a pipeline from Lake Ridge there in Mansfield here to Southwestern. Do you speak to any of the players that are on the current roster there at Lake Ridge, and are you recruiting any of those players to come play at Southwestern, or do you do that kind of stuff?
Well, I would say like most of the players that I talk to are already in college now, whether that's like whenever I was a senior, they were juniors. I didn't really talk to like a lot of the like sophomores whenever I was a senior, like the upperclassmen. So most of them, I know one that goes to like Hendricks now that I talk to every now and then, but not really a lot of people that I really talk to.
Well, did you have anything to do with DJ James transferring over to Southwestern? Because you were already here, right?
Yeah, he was thinking about coming to Southwestern, like I want to say the spring of last year, and he was asking me like how the school was and if it was a good suit for him, and I was just telling him and encouraging him to like come on over here. Like I wouldn't mind you, playing against you every day, and iron sharpening iron every day. So yeah, he's really
and he's provided good production for the Pirates this season, so
yes, sir.
As well as you have. Now, do you go to your Southwestern coaches and ever make any recommendations? Like, have you checked at this running back from Lake Ridge, or maybe somebody you play, that school plays Denton Guyer, Denton Ryan, and Richardson, a lot of tough schools. So do you ever do that?
I would say more of like the receiver aspect. Like there's one or two receivers that I may like recommend to them that I played with that I know or have skills that suit Southwestern. So yeah, for the most part, it's just mainly receivers.
So you're talking to your position coach?
Yeah, position coach. But like some on the secondary I may recommend, but like for the most part, it's mainly just receivers that I've seen personally do some things that I feel like is worthy of Southwestern. Coming
and they
here.
could contribute,
So,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So as you were watching the last interview, you saw that there's kind of an ongoing debate, and it's mainly between Houston and the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on who produces the best football players. Do y'all have discussions about that in the locker room? Are we causing that to be more of a discussion by asking that question every week?
I would say yes, but like other than that, we don't really like talk about it. We may talk about like whose teams are like harder to face, whether it's like Duncanville or Denton Guyer, like some stuff like that. But other than that, not really.
Yeah, there's a lot of good schools in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. What was it like to play against those perennial powers? I mean, because you're looking at week in, week out. You're playing Guyer one weekend, and maybe you're playing Richardson another weekend, or Duncanville or somebody like that.
Yeah, it was for the most part, it was a tough team like every single week, whether that was Duncanville or Denton Guyer. So we had to like always bring our A game every single week. If we were like ever lacking, we knew that could really like hurt us in the long run. So you just had to be like always on your P's and Q's every single week. So
one of the things I did find out about you, I found on you were huddle highlights and a variety of other highlights, and I'll just note that. One of the set of highlights was against my alma mater, the high school I attended. It was against Midway High School out of Waco. So,
yeah.
Yeah, had pretty good catches in that game, and they're generally a pretty good team, at least not comparable really to Dallas-Fort Worth teams. But so your bio on the website here at Southwestern is pretty limited, but there's a little bit of information, as I mentioned, with the huddle highlights. Did you participate in any other extracurricular activities in high school? I mean, did you play an instrument? Were you in choir? Did you play other sports? ROTC? Were there other activities you did?
I mainly did track, but I didn't do like track for the events. I did track for like the conditioning. So I never really.
It's a preparation for football.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, the cool thing about track meets is, especially if you're running distance, which I did because I was never fast, but you go and you have your event, and then the rest of the day you get to pretty much hang out and talk to all of the girl track members from all of the schools that are at that particular meet. So is that part of the draw towards track, or was it strictly conditioning?
I would say it's a mixture of both. I wouldn't say it's strictly conditioning, but yeah.
So what are your personal activities that you like to do? I mean, not a lot of football players are into things like Dungeons and Dragons, but they tend to play video games, listen to music, maybe go to concerts. Are there things like that you like to do?
If I'm not doing anything football related, I'm probably like listening to music or like playing 2K on like the video games and stuff like that. But like for the most part, I'm always trying to like find work to do, whether that's like on the field or in the classroom or even just like watching film. So I'm always just like trying to get better in any way that I can.
Well, idle hands can get you in trouble.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's always better to be busy. I agree with you there. So your bio says you're a mathematics major.
Yes, sir.
That is one of the most hideous sounding majors I could ever think of.
I get that a lot.
Maybe accounting might be a little bit worse, but they're a little related. Is that still your major?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm just really, really good with numbers for some reason. I kind of hate that at times, but
that is a skill that if you can do the math in your head, then that's something that you should be very proud of. That's not it's not easy. I've been through college level calculus courses, and they're not fun. You know, when you have to write out 8 or 10 pages of work, it's difficult, right?
That's exactly what I have to do right now.
So how is that here at Southwestern? Because some of the schools that you might attend, the classes are so big that you may not even get any one-on-one time with your professor. You're dealing with student teachers. So talk a little bit about that student to teacher ratio at Southwestern and how it's important in a topic like your major.
Yeah, I feel like that's really important because like where I'm from, the class was like already huge in my high school. So to come here, like in calculus, it's like 20 to 21, 22 people in the class. So it's like a really one-on-one like type of deal. And then like after the class, if you have questions on something, you can go to like office hours, and it's almost always like a one-on-one conversation with your teacher. So you just, not only are you getting better at the subject, but you're actually like growing a relationship with your teacher where they're going to be like more lenient to like give you that, you know, if you had like a C+, they'll be like more lenient to give you like a B-, or if
with
you're
a
at
little
like
extra credit, or if you have a conflict because of your sport, you know, they may be a little more lenient with you.
more understanding.
So which part of math do you like the most? I mean, is it calculus? Is it algebra?
I would say,
are you like in the process of proving the theory of relativity or anything like that?
I would say it's more algebra than all of them, to be honest.
So do you minor in anything?
As of right now, no. But I've been thinking about
math
like
also.
I've been thinking about like if anything, sports science or something related to sports. So
that would keep you involved in the sport, and that's something that I always recommend to folks that I interview is, you know, you don't just play college football on a whim. It's usually because you love the sport, right?
Yes, sir.
And the love for the sport doesn't go away when you stop getting to play it.
Yeah.
So, you know, I always recommend if you can be involved in some way, either, you know, coaching youth sports or being a referee in your spare time, that you should pursue that. And it sounds like you are considering that. So it is definitely something to keep in mind. Now, you can also, with a math degree, keep a good accounting of how much money you make related to the sport.
Yes.
So what is your favorite SU football experience? We always ask this of players. It's important.
I feel like my favorite experience would probably be the game against TOU. I actually scored my first collegiate touchdown in that game. So it was really, really, like, it felt surreal in the moment. Like, I couldn't believe it, really. And then once I got to the sideline, I tried my hardest not to cry, and I could not do it. I couldn't hold it in anymore.
Tears of joy, there's nothing wrong with those.
Everybody was calling me a crybaby after it, but I did not. I could care less.
They're not calling you a crybaby today about it, right?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite non-football Southwestern University experience?
I would probably say playing intramural basketball with like all my football teammates and stuff like that, because they get real competitive. So,
and I've talked to a couple of them about playing in intramural basketball. So Alec Gomez, is he as rough on the basketball court as he is on the football field?
Yeah, he's definitely on the rougher side.
So what is your overall favorite football experience? I mean, was it something from high school, or is it that touchdown at TLU?
That touchdown at TLU was probably the best one, because in high school I didn't really score in high school. So from high school to college, it's been about 4 years since I've scored a touchdown. So that one it hit a little different for me.
I bet it did, because as a position of receiver, you know, you expect to have your hands on the ball at least 4 or 5 times a game, if not more. And it gives you an opportunity to put it across that goal line. So,
yeah, yes, sir.
Now, I ask this of everyone. If you had an opportunity to have lunch with anyone, famous, not famous, alive or dead, who would that be and why?
That's a good question. I haven't even thought about that one.
Who comes to mind, though? The very first person to come to mind.
I'd probably just say my dad or my mom, either one of those. So.
Well, when you're away from them, you miss them, right?
Yeah, I do miss them a lot.
And so, that hour might be important. So, and I can tell you this, I lost my father a couple of years ago, and that would be my answer right now. It wouldn't have been a few years ago because you expect them to always be with you, but they're not. And so that is a really good, solid answer. And do you have anybody to shout out besides your parents? Because you kind of already shouted them out.
I'd probably say my little sister. I hope that she's doing well in track. And, yeah.
Anybody else? No high school coaches or teachers or any professors or anything?
I'd probably say Coach Thor from Lake Ridge.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, there we are. That is Coleman Robertson. I almost lost your name there, Coleman. Coleman Robertson from the wide receiver group for Southwestern University. We'll be back for the fourth segment and talk about the upcoming game with Trinity here on the Vype Live Network. Merle will be right back.
And welcome back to the fourth and final quarter of SU Football Weekly. Merle Bertrand back with you here along with Coach Austin. I want to thank the rest of our sponsors. Our hosts tonight, Bricks and Ale at the Sheraton, Stephanie Featherstone with State Farm, Georgetown Shirt Company, HEB, House of Gains, Ross and Champion CPA, GTX Wealth, Jersey Mike Subs, and the League Kitchen and Tavern. And before we talk about the upcoming game against Trinity, I thought it was interesting. You always do a great job of bringing guests on here. Guys like Peyton Ludeman and that kind of thing, everybody talks to them, the quarterback. I love the fact that you bring in guys that maybe aren't quote-unquote household names. Talk about the two guys we just had on the show.
Well, these guys deserved it. Coleman was our highest graded offensive player last week, 94% accuracy. And Aiden was selected by his teammates as a special teams MVP. Now, I had to make those selections before I knew Aiden was going to get that, but he would have gotten my vote too.
Right.
And he's a good student, good player. Contributed in so many ways, so it's great to get those players on and recognize all their contributions. So, but there is that bar of being able to communicate, right?
Right.
Not everybody's going to make the cut to be able to get on as they learn to communicate and become more polished. And we don't have like a rule that we wouldn't bring on a freshman, but we kind of like to let them get seasoned a little bit and
sure.
Get comfortable. But yeah, I think those guys were very deserving because of their play, because of the type of young men that they are, and the contributions that they make.
Yeah, we haven't had a bad interview yet this season, so kudos to all those guys so far, and hopefully that'll continue throughout the rest of the season. Back on the football field, it's not going to get easier for Southwestern. After several weeks of facing new conference opponents, the Pirates return home to take on a very familiar foe in Trinity University. From San Antonio. Southwestern will come in with a mark of 1-5, 1-3 in SAA play. Trinity comes to Georgetown after their bye week, ranked number 6 in the country. They're kind of stuck there. They're 5-1 overall, 4-0 in the SAA. The Tigers' only loss was 34-31, a season-opening loss in overtime at then 6th ranked and now 7th ranked St. John's University in Minnesota. This will be the 9th overall meeting between the two clubs, but the first since 2016 when you guys played twice a year when you're both members of the SCAC. So what's changed? What's the difference between Trinity back then and Trinity now?
Well, a lot's changed. The last 2 times we played them, we really had our way with them. It's fun to think back and reminisce. The next last time we played them, we beat them 48-0 at their place.
Right.
Fun day, really cool. But it kind of woke up the Giant. They didn't like that. And then when we played them at home, the last time I played them, it was the game we clinched the SCAC championship. And we really had the game in hand. We scored 20 points early. And we literally just coasted, sat on the football because they couldn't score on us.
Right.
In the last 8 quarters we played against them, of course, they're a very different team now. They scored 1 touchdown in those 8 quarters. So, that was happy days. That was good times, right? That was a really good phase for us.
And they'd won the previous 6 matchups. There were some close games in there, but they won the first 6, and you guys got the revenge.
Yeah, I mean, they're a traditional power. I mean, they've been national runner-up. They've been a very good football team for decades. And so it was a very big feather in our cap to – in a pretty short amount of time, be able to handle them twice the way that we did was a really good piece of history for us. But to answer your question, because that's history. There's been pretty divergent paths, since then, since 2016. I think in large part because of the results of how we did against them the last 2 times we played. They doubled down on their football commitment. They immediately started investing into their strength and conditioning program. More coaches. They redid their weight room. They redid their locker room. They redid their stadium. They put a ton of investment into us. They had an easier go of it during COVID. They didn't have as long or as many restrictions as we had. Maybe most importantly is they have a graduate school. They have 16 fifth-year seniors that are playing their COVID year. Overall, they have 41 seniors. This is the most experienced football team that I've ever seen. The amount of experience that they have. Kudos to them. We don't have a graduate school. And that's been one of the really big hurdles for us in this modern day of college football. In Division III, you normally don't redshirt. Fifth-year seniors are not a thing. There's such a big gap between the teams that have a graduate school and have kept fifth-year seniors and the ones that don't. Belhaven University, for example, we played them a lot. They're not in our conference anymore, but their coach is a good friend of mine. Their school, for retention purposes, offered all of their COVID students free graduate school.
Wow.
They have 25 fifth-year seniors. They're going to be undefeated in their conference and go to the playoffs for the first time in their school history. I mean, it is such a difference between the 2 types of schools. We have one fifth-year senior who just stayed. We don't have grad school. Peyton Ludeman stayed. Right? He wanted to take his yoga class this fall and play another year of football. So we're sitting here playing 33 freshmen. They have 41 seniors. And so it's been a different journey for us. Now we are starting to get going a little bit. We're starting to make our investments. We're starting to do our facilities. Moving to this conference was a good thing. They're starting to get the stadium things going, but we're a little bit behind. I mean, they Trinity really got going, and they made a big commitment to football, and we've been kind of watching them take off, and they've done a really good job with it. They have leveraged the fifth-year COVID senior thing as well as anybody in the country, and they position themselves as one of the elite teams. You mentioned that they lost to St. John's. It's a game that really they gave away, and I think they would say the same thing. They had the ball as a tie game. Less than a minute, they had the ball inside St. John's 10-yard line. You could argue and you could say, just position the ball and kick it and win the game. They ran another play to try to score a touchdown. They fumbled. And then in overtime, they turned it over again and lost by a field goal. So I think they're St. John's, they're right there with them. And St. John's has won several national championships. In the playoffs last year, they beat Hardin-Simmons, who's a perennial power. This year, they smashed Mary Hardin-Baylor, who's not as good as they've been, but still a good football team. They're really, really good. Their quarterback is a fifth-year senior, a Division I transfer. He's won the last 2 Conference of the Year, Player of the Year awards. This will be his 3rd. Amazing. They have a fifth-year senior All-American wide receiver who's amazing. Their inside linebacker won the Defensive Player of the Year last year and All-American. They're loaded with All-Americans. They have really good players that have been there for a long, long time. They're a very good football team.
Is it kind of nice to be back in the same conference with, nice, you got an uphill battle coming up this weekend, but is it nice to be back in the same conference with them, with TLU, kind of restoring some of those regional rivalries that were, so important when the Pirates first started playing football again.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to play Trinity every year. I think we need to play TLU every year. Those are schools that are similar enough, and Southwestern and Trinity need to be in the same conference. So I think it's great that we're back in the same conference. I think it's good for both schools, and I think it's good for us to see what Trinity's been able to do.
Right.
Not that people don't know, because I've been telling them, but I mean they need to see. I mean they've made huge investments. They do a great job in financial aid. They've done a great job with facilities. They've done a great job with coaching staff. They really have done a lot since 2016 when we took it to them. They really have made it a point to, in recruiting especially, if the two schools are looking at them, they make sure that they take care of them in financial aid. And that's not breaking the rules. You can give any one player any package you want to. It's as a whole you have to be within the Division III model. They've made it a point to try to not let too many, if any, players go to Southwestern over Trinity from a financial standpoint.
One of the things that's interesting about this rivalry, going back to those first few years, even when Southwestern was undermanned, like you could make the argument that they are now with the youth disparity and that kind of thing, the Pirates back in those days, listen to me, it's like it's in the 50s or something. That was like just 8 or 9 years ago. Always seemed to punch above their weight. They played Trinity tough when a lot of people were like, well, you've got freshmen going up against seniors, you're going to get your head handed to you. The Pirates always responded and gave them a battle. Are you looking to that model for inspiration against these guys this weekend?
Well, we always are. I mean, I would love to think that we're a team that battles every week, which makes last week a little bit disappointing. I don't think we had the same fight necessarily that we typically have. But that's the situation that we're in. They're very good. I mean, they're an elite football team this year. They've been able to convince those guys hang around to compete for a national championship, and they put themselves in a position to do that. Yeah, we're going to play 30-some freshmen. There's 2 freshmen in their entire 2 deep, and they're not going to play if the game's in doubt. I mean, they've got I think 12 seniors in their offensive 2 deep.
Wow.
There's only 11 on the field at a time. They have 12 in their 2 deep.
Right.
They have 15 seniors in their defensive 2 deep. They're 41 seniors. They're 16 fifth-year seniors. They're super loaded.
Well, it should be an interesting and a good test for Southwestern. Anything going on at the stadium that you wanted to talk about? Any special events or anything like that this week?
This is our annual Staff and Faculty Appreciation Day. Where each player invites a representative that's done something meaningful for them. We also make it a point to invite people that have been meaningful to our program. But for one reason or another, these are personal invites that our players make across campus. I think it's great because every day our students go into the academic world, right? The classroom is their environment, or the offices where they go work with these other people, the business office or the financial aid office. That's their world. And this is the chance for us to turn that around and bring the community, our campus community, into our world.
Right. We
bring them down on the field. We do a receiving line, and I tell the players, leave your helmet on. It's okay if they see you in your world.
Yeah.
I mean, this is who you are.
Yeah.
You see them every day in their environment. Now they get to see you in your environment. And every year people ask me, employees at the school, when it is, because I think they like it when they're invited. They know that they're meaningful to the program. They know that they're meaningful to one of our students. So I think it's a really cool event.
Well, you had the guest coach on a couple of weeks ago, and that worked out pretty well. So maybe having a whole bunch of them will act as reinforcements here for the Pirates.
We need all the help we can get this week. We need all the So hopefully each faculty or staff member bring on the field will give us one good play, right? We'll take 120 good plays.
That'll work. Any final thoughts here before we get ready for Trinity on Saturday?
It's going to be fun to compete against them. They're a very good football team. They with 41 seniors, they don't have a weakness. They're really good in all positions. They have some of the best players in the country in their 5th-year seniors. And so if you're a fan, you're going to watch it, you're going to come to the game, you're going to get to see a team that's competing for a national championship.
Well, we'll find out how it goes. Pirates versus number 6 Trinity at 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon from Birkenbach Field in Georgetown. Going to be a beautiful day, so come out to the stadium and support the team. And if you can't make it, we'll have the game for you here on Vype pregame show at roughly 12:40, give or take a minute or two. So you can find that on Vype.com or SouthwesternPirates.com. You can find the link for that broadcast. We'll also be back with you from Jack's Lounge at the Georgetown Sheraton next Monday night at 6 o'clock for another edition of SU Football Weekly. Thank you to our guests tonight, Aiden O'Connell and Coleman Robertson, our producer, Jack Farrell, our QA tonight, my better half, Christina Weber-Bertrand, our technical director, Suna Vincott, Rita Haley, and everybody here with the Georgetown Sheraton, everybody who came out tonight, Coach Austin, and everybody for tuning in. My name is Merle Bertrand signing out. Enjoy the rest of your week. The weather's awesome. Get out there and enjoy it, and we'll see you next time right here on Vype. Good night, everybody.
Hi, Mom.
Pirates fight for Old Southwestern, so alma mater dear. Pirates fight for Old Southwestern. True Southwestern will be loyal to the sun from the sky. And remember to the end that a fight will never die. Pirates fight.